I've clicked the live, so we are
Okay.
okay.
Yeah.
Yes, yeah,
So
yes,
are you expecting some flooding?
yes. We are. We are in certain parts of the UK. It might be a bit severe, so we are preparing ourselves for it. Usually,
Okay.
when we have a good summer, heat everywhere, we
Okay.
expect a harsh winter and rains. So last year it wasn't that bad, but they have sort of forecasted the upcoming days to be a bit mm, extreme. So pray for us.
I will, because I was saying that extreme is actually quite right. They're predicting
Yes.
extreme, that it will go on for a few days. What time does because I know that in winter the days in the UK are very short. What time in the afternoon or evening does it start getting dark?
That's a good question. Around 4 o'clock.
That's what I
Yeah,
thought. That's so
yes.
early.
Around 4 o'clock it starts getting dark. And surprisingly, winter is one of my best seasons of the year due
Is
to
that
the fact
right?
that it's cozy, the sleep is good. We put our fireplaces on and we sort of the soups, bread and soup and
Oh, they're the things I love about winter as well.
yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
I do. They remind me of home as well, as a child.
Yes,
Yeah.
yes, they do indeed. Oh, how are you, Catherine? You okay?
Yes, I'm very well. I had a weekend at girlfriends up in the Blue Mountains, and
Yes.
it was really gorgeous because she too didn't enjoy our winter very much this year. So it just felt dreary, which is highly unusual for Australia.
Mm,
So she gave me a teddy bear. I have to
mm,
show you.
mm. Ooh, that's so nice.
A
Oh, she gave
little,
you a
a
teddy bear.
little,
Thank you. Thank you,
a
darling.
king's guard or a queen's guard. Yeah,
Wow, that's a nice teddy bear. That's gonna be your new companion, during
that's
these live
right.
streams. Yes.
I
Oh,
agree.
it's so
I think I'm
cute.
going to call it Frankie.
Frankie, hello. Hello,
Hello.
Sam. Sam, say hello to Frankie there. 1 minute. I'll be with you in a second.
Yes, yes, when you're ready, Francis.
Yeah, I just need to plug it in here.
Okie doke.
Oh, hi, our viewers. Thank you for joining us. We hope
My
all of you have
sound
had
is good. Yeah.
a fantastic weekend. Yeah, are we in? A minute. Yeah, we're back in now.
Yes, yes, I can hear you.
Yeah,
Your sound is good,
yeah.
actually.
Yes, I was asking our viewers whether they've had a fantastic weekend.
Nice.
Mm, mm. 1 minute, I'm plugging this in. Right, so we've got it. Yeah. Hi, Lisa. Hi, Sam. Yes. So Catherine has got her new. She's
Oh,
got her new companion there, Frankie.
oh, look, I'll tell you, I had to call it Frankie. I thought my girlfriend, I visited a girlfriend at the Blue Mountains over the weekend. Got back late
Mm.
last night. She gave me this teddy bear. Look at this.
Oh,
It's a little Queen's
it's
Guard. It's so
oh, it's so
cute.
lovely.
Yeah, I was so touched. And my friend is Chinese, Singaporean Chinese, and
Mm.
she it was given to her a while back, and she thought, "Oh, I know someone who will love that."
Yes.
So
Oh,
we're going to call him Frankie.
it's
Frankie.
so pretty.
So
Did
he's
Frank?
our
Where's Frankie's cup of tea? Where's a glass of
well,
juice or water? Yes,
he's
that's it.
drinking green tea today.
That's the way to go. Keep him entertained. We hope.
Yeah.
We hope he behaves throughout our live stream.
Oh, I think he will. He was very well behaved after she gave him. I know. I said to her, "Oh, I'm going to call it Frankie," and she said, "Oh, after Francis." I said, "Well, Francis would just sound really weird." I said, "We call him Frankie because it's
Frankie.
close. It's
Yeah,
close. Yeah, it
it
reminds."
is indeed.
And all our viewers would love that because everyone loves Francis.
Oh, yes, yes.
Yeah.
Oh, thank you so much for finding that very, very one. So the weekend has been quite rapid one, isn't it? It's gone. Today is Sunday. The working week is
Yeah.
back in the frame. But we can't complain. We've all, I think, had a good weekend, to be fair. I went down to London. Did you catch up with
I
that
saw
Kensington?
it. So
Yes.
beautiful. Oh, I loved it.
Yes, yes, thank you. And I'm sure all our viewers online have all, sort of found it in their feeds somehow. Thank you so much for the reactions and for your comments of support. Really, really appreciate so much. It was good to go
Kensington
back.
Palace, it's quite elegant, Kensington Palace. It's not overbearing. It seems to have a bit of an, for a palace, it's a strange word to use, but it seems understated. What's your view about it's so elegant.
It is. It is. It's an old building there, but
Okay.
when you look at it from the outside, it's quite old because it's been sitting there for years. But it went under renovation a few years ago. I think this is
Okay.
the second year running, and inside was modernized. They created more rooms and furnished other areas. Since Princess Diana, of course, left, I mean, died, they've changed things around to give it
Okay.
a new life. And so the arrival of Meghan and Prince Harry then starting to work as senior royals meant that they were going to share the same building with William and Catherine. So they opened up some new spaces there and created a separate wing for the Duke and Duchess of Sussex in there. So we had their press office. So William and Catherine's and Harry and Meghan's press offices were running parallel in the same building. So they changed it quite a lot in there. Brilliant. Now, William and Catherine used to live there as well with the family, but
Yes.
they thought they needed to have separate life from work and sleep.
Yes.
So they
Yes.
decided Kensington Palace then become their working space. So it's their day in the office. And so
Yes.
they then took their home to Windsor in Adelaide, call it cottage.
Mm.
So that they can have, and you kind of want the same thing ourselves, yeah, living and working in the same space all the time. You have your children there, becomes a bit too much, and you have visitors coming in and out, so you want to separate office from home.
Yes, yes. So it's a legitimate
Mm, mm.
it's a legitimate arrangement. What's the status? Because Princess Diana lived in Kensington Palace, didn't she?
She did,
So
yes.
what's the status of that apartment now?
Okay, so they furnished it and changed it a little bit. Some of
Okay.
her treasures in there were preserved. They are there untouched. Um, because
Oh,
that was her best place. She loved Kensington Palace. She loved the gardens, on a normal day, she used to walk around the gardens, go right up to where the pond is, and with the dogs and the boys. They were still very young, William and Harry, so they used to be running around there. So she loved it so much, and that's why they created that the pond where they
Yes.
instilled her statue. And
Yes.
it's because she really, really loved that space. And then she used to walk up to the gardeners who were looking after that pond, and she used to have little chats and conversations. It was her safe space to go and chill out during those challenging times she used to have with, the then Prince of Wales. So all of that is still there, and that's never gonna go away from Kensington Palace. So you need to actually come and visit when you come
Oh,
around in the summer.
yeah. I
The
thought
pri-
that when I saw your video, I thought, oh, that's one location I have to visit. Is her,
mm,
is, so that her apartment is open for public viewing?
it is, yes, it is. Of
Oh,
course, there are limits there,
of
okay, but
course.
but
Yeah.
there are areas that are open to the public, and
Oh, how
it's
beautiful.
it's very, very popular. The tickets are not overpriced compared to other royal residencies. I think 24 pound and £12 adults and children, but very, very friendly, and it's very easy to navigate around the palace rooms. And there is a section for the library in there with the books, and it's very, very quiet and
Oh,
mellow. When you go in there, you feel this breeze of royalty, as I said it. But what actually brings back those memories fondly are the gates. The golden gates,
yes, yes.
where they laid all the flowers at the passing of Princess Diana. Where all the flowers were laid in front. So whoever or whenever visitors arrive there, they have this image, this memory of what they were seeing on television with flowers
Mm,
everywhere, and Harry and William walking there looking at these notes that were left behind with the flowers. And Harry might have were very young, would have been around 6 years old at the time. So those memories will come back each time you visit Kensington Palace. But also you bring
mm,
your sandwiches, and the fields and the gardens are very
mm.
well managed.
Oh
It's very
gosh.
peaceful. I had a
Mm.
great time. I did.
Oh,
Um,
well, it showed actually. I think it wasn't just that you were um, presenting on Kensington Palace, but your presentation really imbued it with a sense of history and romance and timeless. It was so timeless. See, I saw some earlier photos of her interior, and I was surprised at how casual it was. It was just this lovely. She had teddy bears and she had photos everywhere, and it just presented as a very intimate space.
mm,
And when you were presenting on the weekend, I was reminded of that. I thought, oh, I'm going to have to go and visit this location when I'm there next year because I don't know, there was just something about the way you presented it that reminded me of the casual intimacy of her space when she lived there.
oh, thank you so much,
Mm, mm,
Catherine. When you go there and you literally stand in the forecourt, the front of the palace,
yes,
you can imagine, all sorts of things, because first and foremost, this is the home where Harry and William grew up. So they grew up
that's
there
right.
chasing each other around that building. And I mean, they've transformed it and enlarged the rooms and created some spaces at the back. They've built this block behind where you can go and have a cup of tea and read a book and order something to eat in the canteen, which is modeled off the palace itself. So some of those buildings have just been added onto that space. But sitting there, and there are these benches in the gardens and behind the palace itself where you can sit, and on these benches Princess Diana used to sit with the
Oh,
boys, and they were
oh,
sat there eating sandwiches.
mm,
So those memories come back, and to
mm,
know that you're in a place which was televised all over the world at the passing of of Princess Diana, it's true, because some of us were very young. We did not, at the time, we just saw these things on telly. But knowing that this is where all of those things happened in the past is great. And it's
mm,
within the leafy suburbs of London, Kensington Palace.
mm,
It's
mm.
very, very beautiful. I urge you, all my friends here, to visit if you get the opportunity to do
Yes,
so.
yeah,
Yeah. But anyway, that brings us to the royal news for the week
yes.
gone, going into the new week. A lot has been going on behind the scenes. Did you see Catherine with her
I
husband
did.
driving to the church?
Yes, she's really, really coming out now, isn't she? It's just so lovely. I think that those sightings of them going to church with the King and Queen,
Mm,
they're important. They are important because it's a visual of the continuity of the monarchy and
yes.
its values, its historicity, its um, rhythm, the rhythm of the monarchy. That's the word I'm looking for. Really
Yeah.
gorgeous. And it just reminds the public we're proceeding. It's all moving forward. It's just as it does with the royal
Mm,
family, slowly moves forward like an ocean liner,
yes.
that was what came to mind for me. I thought, oh, this is really encouraging.
Very, very, very. And
Mm,
when we look at them in those cars driving to these very sentimental
mm,
sessions, because service, to go and have that relationship with your God is very important. This is how people seek guidance, strength moving forward. And this very much allows us to look at the royal family as a normal family, just like another family that wakes up in the morning, gets ready, and goes to church. Okay. And these are the very this is where they get their wisdom to and guidance on how to tackle activities that lie ahead of them. Now there is a lot to pray for. King Charles is due to travel to Australia, and so there is intense prayers going on behind the scenes to make sure that they have that protection on this 24 hours flight, and of course the king's health being very important and in these arrangements, and the Catherine's completing of chemotherapy and the king himself going through that treatment is also part of these prayers to continue getting that strength and protection from God, so they can again you know go through that smooth healing. Catherine, Princess of Wales, is very due to return for royal duties, and these prayers are a way of giving her that extra hope.
oh, well, it does.
Yes.
I went to church with my girlfriend that I visited up at the Blue Mountains, and I went to her church with her on Sunday morning, and there was something quite beautiful about it. It was very bonding because we live further apart now,
Mm,
and I like that you've mentioned the important because sometimes it can just look like a ritual, the royal family coming out and the family and saying hello, and we forget about the importance of what's going on behind closed doors. And I remember the days when I brought my children to church, and it was so hectic, so hectic.
mm,
Come on, we have to go, we have to go. And then they release the children to Sunday school. There's something um, very bonding for families on those Sundays. It's more than a ritual. It's more than
Yes,
a ritual.
it's brilliant, and
Mm,
most importantly, seeing Catherine and husband drive
yes,
in the same car fosters a strong
beautiful.
family
Yeah.
unit. You know that these two are inseparable, and that is
Yes.
the moment. It's their moment. They drive themselves with no, because usually during the working weeks, you've got drivers taking them to
Mm,
places, but this
mm.
Sunday is their time to reflect on so many things as they
That's a
see
good
the city.
point.
It is so.
Yeah.
King Charles is a king that very much thrives on prayers, on seeking, spiritual guidance, and this is his way of moving forward with his reign. And he's now bringing on board Prince William and Catherine because he knows William is going to be the head of the faith, the churches. Because we remember stories that came up 3 or 4 weeks ago about
Oh,
William
I wanted
not.
to ask you about that actually. Yes. What are your thoughts about that? Are they legitimate? Is there a basis for that?
Okay, so these are stories I think based on it's summer PR trying to sort of sabotage Prince
Okay.
William's coming
Yeah.
into, because William knows that being, faith, the Church of England is a key component of the British monarchy. And this has
Yes.
been for years, monarchs being
Yes.
head of the church. So there is no way you're telling me he's going to become the monarch and says, I'm not going to be the leader of the Church of England. No way.
No.
No
I think it
way.
would be, I think you'd
Yeah.
be cutting off an arm.
He would be,
Yeah.
absolutely. And he has developed such a good relationship with all
Mm,
the archbishops. Justin Welby, very
mm,
very
mm,
friendly with William and Harry. So he has seen these boys grow up. So
mm,
William is really really very close to
mm,
all of those key figures within the Church of England. But seeing him as well attend church with his father every Sunday that he is up at Balmoral or Sandringham is a very good way of looking at Prince William as a young man who is also following through the footsteps of
mm,
his father and all the former kings and queens of the United Kingdom. And he's bringing his wife, Catherine, Princess of Wales, who is also very
mm.
coming from a family of Christianity, very Christian
Yes.
sentiments and
Yeah.
values. So
Yeah.
you, so surely you can't tell me that Prince William would throw away one of the most prestigious positions of being of a monarch, because because let's face it, King Charles the other day, said this, that where would he be without the Church of England? So this, among all of those areas that they are the heads, so they are leaders, would be one of the most vital, and most especially as a monarch. So to me, I looked at that story as one of those stories that are thrown out there to try and
Okay.
sabotage the smooth
Yeah.
arrival
Yeah.
of a young man like Prince William is. Okay. So, thank you guys for reacting to these stories. Welcome aboard Royal News. Sister Ida, thank you so much. I imagine it might be very late where you are, but you've managed to catch this live. Elsie, hi. Aspe, Sam, brilliant. We
Oh,
have
here
this.
I am.
Yes, yeah. Are you back now?
Yeah, my
Yes.
comments. I've got my phone. Sorry. Continue. Don't let me
Yes.
disturb you.
Yes, yeah. So um, it was an honor seeing all of my friends here, turn up for that video about Kensington Palace yesterday.
Mm,
Uh, Giving up your wonderful time to spend the 10, 11 minutes with me going around Kensington Palace yesterday. That gave me a lot of energy. So thank you all guys very much. So we are talking about the royal news again, trying to look at these stories and make sense of why they are happening, what's going on with King Charles's upcoming royal visit. We know that was confirmed and arrangements behind the scenes are very underway to ensure it's going to be a very smooth one. Prince William stepped out the other day with Charity Homeward to go and, of course, enforce his mission for helping to eradicate homelessness. Prince William's mother, Princess Diana, used to also devote most of her time to try and support homeless charities to avoid homelessness. So here is the future king following rightly in the footsteps of his darling mother. Okay, and he's got this beard now. I think it's the new thing. We have these rules relaxed a little bit. Okay, in the military now,
Yeah,
serving officers can have a beard of some sort as long as it doesn't get in their way of, turning up looking apart on the day.
yeah,
So Prince William is sporting a little beard there, which is very exciting to everybody out there. But it is great. And Catherine is working behind the scenes. She has been signing a lot of letters and meeting up with her early childhood development managers and CEOs behind the scenes to try and see where they are at, to give her a very good arrival
mm.
when she comes back. Are you excited about the return of Catherine Arroyo?
Oh,
Mm.
I am. Yeah, I am actually because I'm a bit of a fangirl.
Mm-hmm.
Um, I just adore um, Catherine, and we know that she's married into a very privileged position, but she seems to have somehow maintained a humility, and she appears grounded. And I think that the more we see of her, the more we want of her. But I believe she is pacing herself wisely. So, yes, that's a long answer to your question. I'm very excited to be seeing her because the royal family really needs Catherine.
Mm-hmm.
And I do believe that, and I've said this a couple of times, I believe because of her nature, she's not overbearing, she's quite retiring. She can bridge some of the gaps with some of the younger generations. So yeah, she's fabulous, darlings. She's fabulous.
She is. She is very, very fabulous. And
Mm.
uh, today, when she was seen in those images, I think you've seen a photo. It's on our thumbnail.
Yes.
That photo is trending everywhere today. She's
Yeah.
looking absolutely fabulous. She has got that glow back. Her hair is intact.
Yeah.
She's looking very, very well, and
Mm.
people think that maybe come November Remembrance Sunday, we are going to see her appear at the cenotaph.
Yes.
Okay, so
Yes.
we expect to get that very, very famous image of them again standing with Sophie, Queen
Mm.
Camilla, and Catherine on the right.
It's
So we
iconic, isn't it?
very, very iconic.
Mm.
And of course, she will be supporting her husband, who will be down, laying the wreath at the cenotaph, and then the king
Mm.
himself. So there is a lot coming up from Catherine, Princess of Wales,
Mm.
including the Christmas carol together. Is it together at
Mm.
Christmas carol service, which is huge,
Mm.
huge,
Mm.
an event for many people here in the UK because it celebrates families coming together to enjoy Christmas. And it reminds families that lost their loved ones who can't be there with
Mm.
them on Christmas. But us being here in this service and singing these wonderful hymns is all of us being there for each other during these very challenging times. And you will agree with me, Catherine, that Christmas is always very challenging for so many people out there. Some
I hate
people,
it.
oh yes, some people
I hate
remember
it.
their loved ones who died, who they used to spend Christmas with.
Mm,
You have others who are going through illnesses, so they will be
mm,
in hospital, and others will be celebrating Christmas on their own in their houses. You have
mm,
others who won't be having Christmas gifts because they can't afford them. There are others who will be going without food. They will have to visit food banks during that
mm,
Christmas week. So it is a service of hope for everybody so that everyone can have the same Christmas just like their neighbor.
mm.
And that's where Catherine, Princess of Wales, comes into play, because she is from this family which is very loving, very caring, and she sometimes does her little surprises. Last time she played that piano, you remember? And there is an expectation this time round that there is another surprise that might be coming our way from the one and only
Nice.
Catherine, Princess of Wales. So we are so excited. But there is a question here. I think it's coming from Aspi. Can you read it on your ends, Catherine?
Who is it
Because I'm on the
from?
phone. From Aspi. So I've pulled it up on the screen
Oh,
because I'm on the
okay.
phone. Yeah. So,
SB. Oh, here it
yeah.
is. I found it.
Yeah.
Is it true King Charles, this is
Josh.
from SBRN1, is
Yeah.
it true King Charles will be in Scotland the same day Harry will be in the UK? So consequently, they won't have any chance of seeing each other on, in Harry's case, pestering the king. That's actually a good question, Aspie.
It is. It is
Mm,
it's a good question, and we know that the king has been, of course, by the directives of his medical team, has been advised to stay up in, Balmoral, Scotland, as part of his treatment. Okay, so it's more quiet, it's more friendly. It's also being away because King Charles loves working.
yes,
He's
yes.
so hardworking that even during his times of treatment, he found himself sat on that table, opening letters, signing letters, and answering emails somewhere somehow, special ones from heads of states. So there is this directive from his medical team that in Scotland is a bit far from his working desk. So the chances of him taking some real time off, okay, from those stressful tasks are high. So yes, he might be up in Scotland, and I don't think there is any plans for him to see Harry, because Harry's
Mm,
coming back for the he's coming back for the Well Child's
mm,
charity event. So the Well Child. So this little event for
yeah,
the children with uh, healthy conditions, extreme health conditions, and medical needs. So he's coming back here. He
mm,
won't come with Meghan because Meghan is staying over. But
mm,
Prince Harry thought while here for the Well Child charity event, he could sneak in and see his
mm.
father. But that's
Well,
not
well, Paul,
confirmed. Hmm?
Paul responded to Aspie here. He says King Charles will be in Scotland, but even if he wasn't, he won't see Harry, is my thinking. That's what Paul says. So Paul
Yes.
doesn't think he would want to see Harry anyway, if even
Hmm.
if he wasn't in Scotland.
Hmm. King
Mm.
Charles is very busy, extremely busy
Yeah.
right now. He's having a lot going on with planning his upcoming trip to
Mm.
Australia. So the last
Mm.
thing they need around the king is any sort of stress for
Mm.
situations that are going to put him on that backward movement with regards to
Mm.
how better he is starting to come. And
Mm.
also, they know, everybody knows that every time Harry meets the queen, the king, or comes to the king, he will go away and give interviews of some sort. And so the king doesn't want that.
Mm,
Um,
mm.
I don't know if you watched that interview the other day when they were asking Harry, okay, so did you see your father? I said, yes, I met my
Yeah,
father, we did this. So
yeah,
it's very easy for him to become slippery with these, what would have
yeah.
gone on in those discussions.
I don't understand how he doesn't see that, because I posted a short about that, I think maybe
You
a
did.
few week
A
ago,
week
and
ago.
I don't understand how Harry believed. So you're in control of the interview, you're in charge, and no one is more in charge than Harry and Meghan. So he
Mm.
could have said, they were at the Victor's Games. He could have easily said, please don't ask me about my father or his health or the royal family. I don't want it mentioned. If you do, I'm walking out. But
Absolutely.
he didn't. He wanted to show that, oh, I'm still in contact with my
Oh,
father. I haven't been cut out,
yes. Yes,
and
absolutely.
it just didn't do anything to enhance the relationship with his family at all.
No, no, he didn't. So there is that sort of lack of
Mm,
trust, if I may
yeah.
call it. Because even if he said, because some down the lines, he said, okay, so uh, they asked him, how is your
Mm,
father's health now? And he said,
mm.
that's between me and him. So he
Oh,
somehow got round it. But even
yeah.
saying
So
that
sly.
alone, yeah, absolutely, saying that alone is you shouldn't even put yourself in a position where people are going to get to ask you those questions. So I would have stopped that straight away and say,
Mm.
no comment, or that's private business. I don't discuss those things here. So there is always that element of lack of trust. And
It's really
moving forward,
obvious. It's
yeah,
obvious.
yeah,
It's
yeah.
obvious to everyone but him.
Yeah, we shouldn't even know he's coming here to talk to his father. It
No.
shouldn't. They shouldn't be putting it through their PR machines. That Harry is expected to see the king when he is gonna see the. We shouldn't be seeing all of that. It should be
Mm,
more like behind the scenes activity, just like he went and attended his uncle's funeral, and there Prince William was. So something like that. Okay, nobody wants to know, but putting it out there through their PR machines is a way of him telling the world, look here, I'm very much in touch, and you're with me, and it's still part of the family, and these relationships are there, we are sorting things out, because it's not how they're positioning it. It's different. Now, that message of birthday they sent to Prince Harry recently through the royal family, some people would have thought, okay, so is this the beginning of reconciliation? Okay, so are things back in, back to normal? Because we would
no,
never. But it's not. It's
no.
far from that. This was a royal family exercising
Mm,
professionalism and
mm,
expressing good wishes for this young man hitting 40
mm,
years because it's a
mm.
milestone birthday. And I think they would have done the same thing to senior royals, Prince Andrew himself, if he hit
Yes.
70 or 80 or whatever.
That's going to cause a sensation.
Exactly. But so Prince Harry needs to just know when to keep quiet and when to talk, how when to bring certain issues in the media and what to leave behind. Because otherwise, if he doesn't and carries on with his approaches to these things, distrust is always going to be a big issue, and he is only serving to alienate himself, making the fact is bringing this situation that he is in today with his family on himself.
I
Okay.
just I like that. I'm really happy you brought all this up because there was an article in Style magazine, and here it is here. It's really telling, you know.
Hmm.
Prince Harry thought King Charles would have
You
forgiven
okay?
him for everything by now.
Hmm.
That's in InStyle, and um, I just thought, yeah, he did. He thought that he could just run rogue, run roughshod all over everyone. I mean, look, uh, King Charles authorised an autobiography by Dimbleby. Diana did what she did, but Harry did it badly. You know, I'm not saying they did it well. Hang on a minute. I'm just backing up here.
Hmm.
Um, I don't know what it is about why Harry hasn't gotten away with this. Prince Harry thought King Charles would have forgiven him for everything by now. Things may be beyond repair at this point. So why did he think he could get away with all of this? His his book Spare is a hate fest on his brother. He absolutely hates his brother. That's what the book is communicating. I
Hmm.
hate my brother. That's basically the bottom line.
Hmm.
And my father enabled my older brother to abuse me, you know, by ignoring me when I went to Eton and all of this nonsense. Brothers are meant to toughen each other up. And so Harry is not responding well to have a brother. But Harry just thought he could get away with all of this. And now he doesn't understand. If you were a politician or if you were a staffer or a rogue staffer in the royal family, you would get away with it. People would be listening to you. But it's your family. No one was exempt. No one. With Princess Diana, it was her unfaithful husband. With King Charles, it was the aloof upbringing that he had a problem with. With Harry, it's everyone. Oh, you know, my father cut me off. You know, he doesn't take my calls. His wife is the Wicked Witch of the West. Oh, my brother um, beat up on me because of this, that, and the other. He didn't want me to be close to him at Eton. Yeah, well, the older brother is embarrassed by the younger brother. That happens.
Hmm.
And then he shows texts and he records private texts with Catherine and Prince William in his book. So no one was exempt. Everyone came under the torch, Harry's torch. So he can't understand why everyone is still reeling from that.
Hmm. Good.
It was
Good.
his family. He's not a politician. He's not an ex-staffer like Paul Burrell. It's his father, his brother, his sister-in-law, his wicked stepmother, you know. Um,
Yeah. You
oh my
could.
God.
You couldn't have analyzed that any better than you have. You know, it's basically gone against everyone. Everyone, okay, yeah, in the royal household. You forgot to mention Catherine as well was in the mix, isn't it?
Well,
When
she
he
was
say,
in the mix.
when he says, when he
He
says,
put the texts between Catherine and Meghan over bridesmaids,
"Can
over
you
flower girls.
imagine?"
What man does this?
Yeah.
Come on.
Bring
What
all
man
of
is
that and
going to do
throws
that?
exactly all of that should have stayed behind the scenes. Those little walls are always there on functions like that, and it's all part of the excitement. Now I know when my auntie was wedding going, you know, I remember I was very young at the time, and so they brought all these beautiful dresses, and then they forgot to bring this dress for the little one, for the young one, on the bridesmaids. So,
Uh-oh.
so they bring all the dresses, but they miss the one dress for the little one. So they had made an order previously, which they changed because of fashion and all. So they changed it to this new one. But when the new dresses arrived, they had forgotten to do this little dress for the youngest. And it was
Uh-oh.
too late. So what they did decide is to use the first dresses that had been drafted because they had all of those dresses. Okay. But my auntie insisted and said, use the old ones because I don't want this young girl to be left out. She must be part of
Oh.
the bridesmaids.
Oh.
And the matron was saying, no, these dresses are so old fashioned. Let's use the new one. And we just give the young girl a different dress. Okay. So there was that argument that no, she's gonna look like the old shape out or the old man out wearing a different color dress to the rest. So I remember that argument there between my sister, my auntie, sorry, and her matron, you know, to do with dresses. But it was all part of the fun.
It
In the end, my auntie still won because it was her day. She said they would rather wear these old-fashioned dresses, but when everybody has got a dress similar to the other, okay. But then you can't go and write a book about this and mourn and say we did this all you cry those tears and
It's
it is all part of the
ridiculous.
fun, ridiculous. You can't go and say me and my brother told my father, we told our father not to marry, his wife. You can't say that because that is very private information. You can't
But
release
that
that.
that those conversations go on in families. I've had conversations, and later on, I've had to zip my mouth from saying, "Oh, I told you so." You're desperate to say it, but you just know you
You
can't.
you can't. Okay, you can't. And the funny
This
thing
goes
is,
on.
it does. And the other thing is, whenever you spill those private information out and tell people thinking that they're actually going to sympathize with you, they're actually laughing at you behind the scenes and say, "Oh my God, did you hear that? Oh, how did you even do that?" And this, because can you imagine, Catherine? Because we in Africa we have extended families. We have our uncles, aunties,
Beautiful, yeah.
our our sisters from our parents maybe met with with the children, so they came with children from other relationships. So we have these big extended families, and within these families you have aunties or uncles that have some weird behavior, or they do things you don't agree with, and they do their little naughty things on the side. But you don't come in the camera here and start spilling those beans out and say, "Oh, uncle so and so, we don't want uncle so and so." When you're together, you're all happy. But behind the tables here, you sort of have some mini discussions about, Auntie Josephine has to change. Those ways are not good, but
I
those
know, and we
stay in the
all have.
family. Yeah.
We all have. We all. And we still, over a late night tipple, we still talk about it, don't we? We
Yeah,
still
yeah,
talk about, oh, remember when Uncle Harry did that? Oh
yeah.
my gosh.
I can't
But
believe
it's the
Auntie
color.
Jane. Yeah, can't
It's
believe
the
Auntie
color of the
Jane.
family. Yeah.
I can't believe Auntie Jane came to this gathering and she packed all the crisps and took them back after. She left nothing for the kids. Yeah, she's taken all the crisps
Oh,
back to
how
her
funny.
children. But these are conversations we have with them. Okay, they stay here. You never go on national telly and it's on Sky News and say so and so did this and that because it
Yeah.
makes you look stupid.
Oh, you do. Look, they draw
So
attention to themselves. Because remember, I thought one of the most delicious headlines after the Oprah interview was because they talked about it. Who made who cry?
yeah,
I'm thinking, is this really happening? The next day, all the British press were, Catherine made Meghan cry, all on the front pages. I thought, this is a Monty Python comedy sketch. Because all they succeeded in doing was continually drawing attention to their own behavior because people were just scratching their heads.
yeah, yeah, exactly. And when you see how Oprah was positioning these questions, this was more like throwing them like opening them up to the world to see how these two individuals at the time were being very childish, at certain things. And can you imagine they made us cry? And can you imagine they questioned the color of, you know, these were these were family conversations, things that might have taken place in a joking, in an environment of okay, excitement. But the way they turned these things around to try and win people's sympathy, and but all of it was done very wrongly. It's very pathetic because you can't do that to a
Pathetic,
family.
pathetic. I love that word.
And
You've described it beautifully.
and so today, when we hear these stories of Harry's ringing his father, the phone calls are going unanswered, that is why. That is why.
Mm,
Because
mm.
what if something, with the king says something which he thinks is very normal to say in those conversations, and it's turned upside down? Okay.
Mm,
What
mm.
if Prince William sends a message to Harry and that message is shown to Meghan and the press? Because remember, I think you saw in Netflix in one of the parts when Harry said, "My brother just texted me,"
Yes, yes, yeah.
and look at
It's
it. And
yeah.
so, in
Oh,
front of
shock
camera,
horror.
yeah,
Yeah.
in front of camera, my brother, who wants to know your brother's text you? That's yours, okay? And then obviously that text was shown to Megan, and they were like, so let's see what has he said. And so that is the sort of person, and that's where the royal family, I think, doesn't want to go again. So they will always draw
Oh.
those boundaries. They will always be very careful how they interact with these two, and
Mm.
just to make sure that they don't entrust information, regardless of whether it's very vital or even the very minimal of real family chats to these two. We have all the Balmoral conferences, the summer events, the retreat at Sandringham, where all the royals go spend. Meghan and Harry are never invited at those events because, again, I think it comes down to trust. How do they come and mix up, and what if some of those very family conversations end up in the way they did with the Oprah Winfrey interviews? Okay. So
Well,
I
it is trust. It that is the basic thing that's been broken. It's trust, and I don't know how you get that back. Some marriages survive infidelity, and but it's a hard road. It's a hard road to come back from the breach of trust, the betrayal.
it is.
It's the betrayal, and it cuts deep. I think betrayal is one of the deepest human wounds. To be betrayed because the inner sanctum of the relationship has been exposed and violated. And Harry doesn't understand that. He actually doesn't get it, sadly.
Yeah, yeah, she does it. And now we've seen Joe Vickers here just arriving. Hi, Joe. Hi, Sheila. Hi, Becky. Becky was asking for Catherine's name. Catherine's Arroyo Ayota. That's her channel. We'll put it in the description. Catherine, you forgot to write your name, I think, on the screen there.
Sorry. I thought I
Um,
put it up. Sorry, girls. It's A Royal. It's all one word, lowercase. A
maybe
Royal,
it's
Iota, IOTA. Thank you so much for asking.
yes, yeah,
Yeah,
wonderful there. Please, and thank you so much for the kindness, for the comments, and for
yeah.
subscribing to our channels. Catherine's channel is impressively growing, which is
Oh,
good. You
thanks
know,
to you.
yes, we want to
Thanks
see
to
her
you,
get
my
to
love.
her
Yeah.
1K. And we are having so much fun having her
Mm,
around this talk show every, weekend because she brings so much life to these live streams, and she shares a lot of insights
And
into.
little Frankie as
And
well.
yes, it's from little Frankie here. Yes. But thank you, everybody. Sam, Paul, I saw Paul earlier, Ida, Becky, Elsie, very, very stronger team we are. And I saw all of you turning up for that Kensington Palace tour, including our dear Catherine here. That was so empowering and supportive of Francis
Mm,
Page Media. Thank
it's
you.
wonderful. Thank you so much.
Yes,
Joe
yeah.
Vickers
Mm.
is saying something here
Family is
about
important.
family. Yeah,
Yes, yeah.
important
Family
to
is
our
very.
development.
Oh, it is. I don't know where I would be without my family, for example, because
Mm,
growing up, we used to have, like I said, these distant families, and we have family reunions every year where we meet up and say hello to each other. There are some members of the family we don't get to see until there is something major that has happened in the family. Maybe it's a wedding or a funeral, and then you see, oh, how are you? But also meeting allowing the young ones to meet up, to know each other and their roots as they grow, to avoid in the future these young ones running into each other, into relationships unknowingly, or ending up in areas where one would become very successful and would support their friend or their cousins, but because they haven't grown up, they don't know each other, those connections are lost somewhere down the lines. So family is very, very important. And why we sit here every day calling for Meghan and Prince Harry to do whatever they can, regardless of their situation with their family, to connect to those little ones with their roots here, because that is going to be very important for them going forward in future, especially as they are part of the line of succession. Okay.
you're right. You're right. I don't. Frankly, I don't understand it, and I believe that they're hiding something. If they can't bring their children out for special events or bring them to the UK for the King's, for any event, I just don't understand it. And the only thing I can put it down to is they're hiding something. And they're always deflecting away from themselves, but they're coming undone in America. America is starting to scrutinize them, and it doesn't bode well for them. But those
No.
children, I believe Archie does exist. I have a question over Lily. He's been kept from his cousins, and those cousins, Zara's children, for example, how gorgeous are they? I mean, we
Mm.
know about the Wales children, but how gorgeous Mike and Zara's children, and those children are missing out on their cousins. That beautiful, gorgeous historical connection is not being maintained.
It's not, and that is a big, big issue, big problem. For me, I'm looking at Meghan and Harry as being very selfish
Yes.
parents, for them to be acting in the way they are with regards to those children. uh,
Mm.
their grandfather. Well, okay, so this has even gone beyond the question of being whether these kids are theirs or not. But the fact that those
Yes.
kids are on the line of succession,
Yeah.
they are supposed to be well in touch with their roots.
Yeah.
They are supposed to
Yeah.
meet with royals here at
Yeah.
Sandringham or Balmoral every
Mm.
year, okay, in those family reunion. Okay, now Meghan, Harry, your relationship is not where it is supposed to be, the royal family,
Yes.
but those
Yes.
children can be dropped off and be picked off, because their life is now being dictated upon Meghan and Harry's behavior. It's being
Mm.
controlled.
Mm.
Okay, and it's not those children's fault, you know, but because Meghan and Harry think that by keeping those children away from the family. It is as if they are punishing the royal family for treating them the way they treated them.
Well,
It is totally wrong. Very, very
that's
wrong.
that's good. That's good the way you put that. That it's almost like they're punishing the children, but the problem is they're in the line of succession. It is a scandal that these children, no one sees them. I mean, Angela Jolie, she has all these children. People, the public saw them. Uh, I mean, celebrities go out with their children. They don't most of them are sensible. They don't overexpose their children. Harry and Meghan, I actually believe this is abusive. It is a form of abuse to deny these children their heritage. But the fact that they are in the line of succession, I mean, I just feel for her, Archie was an anchor baby. It anchored her in the royal family. It anchored her in the line of succession. She is the mother of a prince in the line of succession. She's the wife of a prince in the line of succession. It was very self-serving, very Machiavellian what she did. But I just don't. It's really quite a breathtaking situation when you think about it. And the longer it goes on, the worse I believe it gets for Harry and Meghan.
It does, yes, absolutely. This is their only
Yep,
chance when King Charles is still here.
yep,
Because at
yeah,
least we know that there is a bit of that window still open for Harry
yes,
to put himself and his wife together, clean up their acts. But if they miss this opportunity here, which is literally that small that they still have, it is going to become one of the biggest regrets they will ever have,
yep.
in life. Because here we are, Prince William stepping onto that throne. Because I'm not here to say William is going to be such a very, aggressive king. He's just gonna literally, once he steps on that throne, he's gonna just literally erase them out of the picture.
No,
No,
I don't think
but
that's the
things will be
case.
more complicated.
Yes,
Okay, will be
yes,
more
yep.
complicated because those
Mm.
kids haven't received a 100% seal of approval from their grandfather, who is the king
No,
right now.
no,
Okay.
that's correct. That is really the point. The king's imprimatur is not complete. It's not a full imprimatur on those children because she just came out and announced it that
Exactly.
they were going to take these titles for the
Mm,
children because they're entitled to it. It would have been far it would have been a more secure and legally sound position to allow the king to do that in his own good time. He did it eventually with the Duke and Duchess of Edinburgh. People were beginning to complain he was taking his time and not acknowledging his father's desire. And he did take his time, but Meghan believed, oh no, she knows better. And she did it. But she didn't help her case or the case of her children because it's not sound. It's legally
mm,
not sound that there is no king's imprimatur on that.
And the other thing is, whatever, because you see what King Charles is doing now, all over these plans of action moving forward would have been things that were decided upon by Queen Elizabeth. Okay?
Yes,
So even when Prince William assumes that throne, he's going to be continuing whatever was discussed and left in plan by his father, the king,
yes,
King Charles. So if Harry fails to settle with his father, with the royal family during his father's reign,
yes,
okay, going into Prince William's reign, they are going to be basing on the notes and everything left behind by King Charles. If he says the big question marks on this, big question marks on this, certain areas within policies with a line, being underlined, these are the areas that Prince William is going to be pretty tight on. So with these children still hanging in the balance there, yes, they are sitting on that, they are sitting in the line, but you can see that there are question marks popping up here. And this is
Mm.
going to only serve to make things more complicated, harder for Meghan and Harry going forward if William steps on that throne. And who is to lose out of all of this? Of course,
The
Prince
children.
Harry and the children. The future of those children, the future is heavily relying on the continuation of the royal family. The royal family here, them being on that line of succession. Those kids don't have any connections with the world because they are like they've been locked in this little bubble. They're like that they are going to find it very difficult, especially with that sort of reputation that their father and mother have with the world presently. It will be a big struggle if things are not made easy for them by linking them up with their roots here. Okay. So when we call these two out, Meghan and Harry kids, it's not like we just don't like them. It's us trying to tell them that, listen, regardless of what you're doing in the world, where you are, what relationship you have with the family, children are always children. They are supposed to be shown their families. They need to know their cousins, their nieces and nephews, because that is their future.
Yeah,
Okay.
and I agree with you. It's important not to paint Prince William as an ogre waiting in the wings to really wield the big stick. That there are reports in the paper that the king is working on the succession plan. Well, I believe that's always a work in progress, but he's doing that in consultation with the Prince of Wales. He's not doing that alone, and he's doing it under legal advice. And the biggest thing that William has to secure is the future of his own children. That is his priority. It's the securing the future of his own children while the Sussex children are in that line of succession. It complicates things, and William won't allow that. It's his children and the line of succession and the future of the monarchy are his priorities. So
Exactly.
Harry comes out with a message on his birthday and he goes, I love my children, they inspire me, and all the rest of it. No photos, though.
No
So it just makes
photos,
his words all empty and shallow. No
very
photos of
empty.
him, no portraits. Like Catherine
Mhm.
releases portraits of her children on their birthdays. No portraits, no casual photos with him and his children, you know, giving a sweet peck to his daughter, holding her close to his heart. Nothing, nothing.
Nothing. And that sort of absence of those kids in this whole picture is only serving to
Yes.
is only serving to alienate those children. And this is a lot of what's the word we used here? Uh, it's what's the word? There's a word. I've just lost it. Um, but on the side of Meghan and Harry, these are parents being very selfish. That is the word, very selfish. Because
Yes.
if they
Yes.
think they have their future at hand here. So
Mm,
Harry's already
mm,
grown up. He's a grown up man into his 40s. Meghan Markle, grown up
mm,
woman. So their future is literally here. Okay, so for them, they can afford to go about life the way they are doing, but their
mm,
children's future hasn't arrived, and it is their future that they are tarnishing. Very
mm,
tarnished. So they
mm.
don't know this. Somebody needs to talk to them. And this is where I always think, do they even have advisors? Because if you have an advisor, these are the sort of things they would be talking to them on a daily basis.
I'm sure people have tried because one of the um, allegations in that Hollywood report that's really thrown them, it's really thrown them back on their butts, basically, um, is that they never take advice and they change their minds and they're poor decision makers. The problem Megan has is if those children are out in public view, they become the center of attention. Everyone is curious. Everyone loves children. Everyone. There's something about children that we respond to them. Even naughty children, we respond to them. But she can't share any limelight with anyone, least of all the children. And she reckons Lilibet's got blue eyes. She said she's gorgeous. You know, she comes from the Spencer side, and she has blue eyes. And if all of this is the case, she's a beautiful child. You know, not that brown eyes aren't beautiful. Every child has distinguishing features, but she has to share the limelight with those children, and she won't. Because look how she's always stealing Harry's limelight. We saw him at an awards event that Kevin Costner hosted in his own backyard, apparently.
Mm,
And he was there by himself. It was a very different man. But when we saw them last year, she was reaching for the microphone.
she
And the woman
was.
who was the organizer of the event was not allowing her
Oh
to
my
have it.
God, to speak. Yeah,
Everywhere she goes, she steals Harry's limelight. But
she does.
those children, I'm sure that her daughter is a pretty little thing, and Archie is an interesting little boy. Little boys are. I love little boys. I think they're just the cutest bundles of mischief. You know, she can't
Mm,
do it. She can't. That's.
mm,
I think that it's not just that I believe they're hiding something, but that's part of the problem. She
mm.
will not share the limelight with those children.
Well highlighted there. And talking about that event, because the media put it like Meghan
Yes,
didn't attend this event because she was sick. She wasn't
she is
feeling very
sick.
well. Yeah, she's sick. See, that's why Prince Harry turned up on his own. But I think it had to do with, the embarrassment she faced last
Yes.
time, and how also the organizers of this event never wanted to have these controversies that she brings herself with all the time to these events to come and steal the limelight, because it went away. The event lost. Okay, people started talking about it in terms of this Meghan Markle's wanting to take the mic, as opposed to actually uh, talking about the goodness of the event as a whole. So the organizers are now very careful to eliminate all elements of things that might lead to controversies. And I think this is where maybe that invitation went out only for Prince Harry this time. But
Well, he
they
looked
put
a
it
bit
out
like
there.
his old self, didn't he?
Yes, yeah. He's always himself when he turns up at these
Mm,
events. You can see the
mm.
confidence he carries with himself. And I think it is more ideal for him to attend these events, especially those sentimental ones, because then he can have the stage and he can now act in a manner that is more professional that we usually see them act when they attend these events together. But you touched on a very important point about those kids, being now, away from these events, and now this is going to affect them growing up and their relationship with the family. And it reminded me of our auntie, who so because my mom had about 7 sisters, but there is one of those sisters of in every family every family there is somebody who acts weirdly somewhere somehow. And I've seen this thing happen. A family of 8, 9, 10, there is always that one person who is either very what is the word,
Unruly,
so they always
eccentric.
So either they feel very sorry for themselves if there's
Yeah.
something that has happened, however small, and they turn that to be a big thing, and you will see
Mm.
some of those just disappear, and you know you don't even hear from them for they just go away and hide somewhere, and they carry on with their life. And the rest of the family will start wondering what's going on in their lives. They are not coming at family gatherings and family events because there is something that annoyed them. Sometimes some of these things are actually very small things that could have resolved. But because of ego and all of those things, these people go away and never to be seen. But until a big problem happens, that's when you see those people again. Okay. So this sister of my mother uh, just literally walked away from the rest of the family, from my mom. She wouldn't communicate to any of her sisters or brothers.
Wow.
She wouldn't go to see her father, who would have been our grandfather and mother. We were there at Christmas, but she wasn't there. And we would hear that she's living at a certain border. She got a man, and so we just hear these stories. And she has two kids now, but we've never seen these children.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
sadly, she was in this relationship with a man who was really abusing her. But we never got to know, my mom never got
Oh.
to know about all of these things until one day this man just, beat her to a point of near
Oh.
death. And her kids now were brought back to my mom's family back here. And so these were her kids. She has been taken to
Wow.
hospital for treatment, but these kids have nobody to stay with. Okay. So the family was like, we even don't know whether these are their kids because we've never seen them. So you see that real big problem there
Yeah. Yeah.
you create for your children, because had she brought these kids here, they would have known them. Everybody would be very willing to help, forthcoming with how to go about helping them. But because this sister of theirs had run wild and she had literally cut off herself from the family, when those issues arose and her kids had to be brought here because this is where they were going to get somebody to look after them, my mom and her sisters were not very sure whether these are even her kids. And
Wow.
and this is where you see people say those kids, okay, they are distant relatives, are very rich, they are wealthy, but see how those kids are looking.
Wow.
See,
Yeah. Yeah.
it's because the parents did not do anything to align those children with the larger family here that would have been supportive.
Well, they can't integrate. They don't know how to integrate into that system. It's a very foreign system to them now. Would have been the
Mm,
same with your niece and nephew, the young children of your aunt. How are they going to integrate into this family unit that they've never met? It makes it very difficult for the children.
mm. So for Meghan and Harry with their children here, this is the
Mm,
same problem I'm saying that could
mm,
happen here. A situation where those kids will need to have some sort of
yes.
real support. They are living in a foreign country, or their heritage is here, but they've taken them away in California in this big mansion, locked away from the rest of the world. The only person they probably see is Meghan Markle's mother, Doria. But Doria, just Doria, as you hear Doria. Doria is not going to be here forever. So those kids need to have real grounding people who are going to look after them and secure their future. So it's very, very interesting that we have these conversations going all the time. Many people are talking about these things, and
They
I'm
are.
sure
It's
Meghan and
not going
Harry,
away.
yeah, would be tuning into some of these things, but nothing
Yes.
changes, and I don't think they are even going to be doing anything with those children in line with bringing them back here to, you know.
Well,
But
here's the thing, Francis. We hear reports of Prince Harry wanting to return in some shape or form
mm,
to. royal life. He wants to return to the UK, he wants to be reintegrated back into the royal family. Now, Harry understands this much at least. All his life,
Mm,
he was trained for the
mm,
job. When we saw him on the platform at this event, at Kevin Costner's event, he was in his element. All his life, he's been trained to do that. The other thing is, too, he was the one presenting the award. He
mm,
wasn't the one receiving it like he's been doing. Um, so Harry understands the royal system. That is his ecosystem. That is in his blood. It's in his DNA. He can't escape it. So for him to deny and to think that at some point in the future his children will be able to move into their prince and princely roles, because it is more than a title. It actually is. Even if you're not a working royal, you represent the royal family. You represent that system in which you married into or were born into. And Harry says in an interview on TV, oh, well, I was born the spare, you got the heir and you got the spare, but it was always used against me. That's his perception. That's how he perceives it. And it's not a full representation of what that means. So his children, the titles in America mean absolutely nothing. They're just nothing. It's nothing. So it's really cruel, I believe, the dynamic he has allowed to develop with that family arrangement he has there with Meghan and those children. But in my view, those children, particularly the first one, is just an anchor baby. Anchored her. It's her meal ticket.
Now
Well,
look
it's
at
just a
Sheila
meal
here.
ticket.
I
Yeah.
agree with you. Sheila says, I have one sister that got into drugs and the entire family tried to get her off, but she ended up passing away due to drugs.
Yeah.
So
That's
sad, yeah.
sad. I'm
So
sorry to hear that,
sad.
Sheila.
Sorry to hear
Yeah.
that, Sheila, yeah. And can you
Yeah.
imagine if she had children and those children were cut off from whoever was going to be able to help and, see those children through school and support them to becoming responsible grown ups. If she had cut herself away from family, who was going to look after those children? Because when we are preparing our children for the future, we think in terms of, what is going to happen to them when we are not here with them. Okay, how are we opening up those links for them?
It's sad.
Are we linking up with people in our, circles, families, and build those bridges, because those are the same bridges our kids are going to have to walk on to get to the other side when we are not here. So it is important for Harry, Meghan to grow up and start thinking like real parents, start behaving in a way that is going to allow for their children to come and, feed off their legacy. If their legacy is not a good one, those kids are going to suffer as well, as a result of, the poor legacy. We are reading all
Yes.
these stories coming up about, Meghan Markle, Prince Harry's popularity has plummeted. There is another poll that has come out yesterday or the other day,
Mm,
again
mm.
indicating that their popularity is plummeting to an all-time low. So you can see that the more time goes by, the less these two are even getting, the world is getting interested in their operations and all of that. So tell me where their children will sit if things start going that way for their parents.
Yeah.
So it's
Well,
sad.
it's sad. The point is with Sheila is that this is drugs. For drug users, there's only three outcomes. There's sobriety, rehab, insanity, or death. It's really, as the outcomes are as stark as that. And I was thinking about this with Harry, his presentation of that award, because someone on Twitter replied to one of the Royal Watcher accounts and said, I was actually at that event, and she took a photo. And Harry, like, it's interesting to see the difference between photos, and I don't mean professionally polished, I mean, they take the best and they show the best of the moment. But she showed a photo, and Harry looked a bit irritated. And she said that the applause for him wasn't that enthusiastic, but he would be in his element in that situation there, because that is what he was trained for. He was trained to be of service. He was trained to hand out awards. He was trained to support the king, to support the heir. It's in his DNA. But the future is not good for Harry, like Sheila's sister, if he can't come to grips with his addiction. Like, he's got a really bright future still. It'll be modified based on his behavior of the last few years. It's modified now, but he has still got a bright future because he's married, he's got a family, he's living in California, he's got a history that his children have got there, that I believe you really highlighted so beautifully with your own story. It's like, how do these children integrate into Harry's heritage? Because that's what Harry, he says, oh, they denied me this, they denied me that. What is he denying his own children? But if he can't come
Absolutely.
to grips with this, what is his future? Look at Sheila's sister. That's the future for drug addicts if they
Ex-
can't face the reality and the hard decision and the hard
hmm.
graft of rehab. It's not easy.
It's not easy. Sheila says those kids were 48 and 14 months. So you can see that they were very young kids, very, very young.
Mm,
And
mm,
and and had Sheila not been here to help in the way she has helped, where would those kids be? And she's
mm,
raised them. Thank you so much, Sheila, for having that kind heart.
mm,
I've seen members in the family who just care about their own families as well.
mm,
They just have too much going on, and they're just looking after their family, their own children, because
mm,
so even these days, to have somebody to take care after your kids, the way you would love them to be taken care of, for is very difficult to find. But here is Prince Harry is having a very good heritage, the royal family. These kids have everything and every support, whether it's health, everything, education, and he's denying them that right.
mm,
Okay, and this is
mm,
all part of not being grateful
mm. Yes.
somebody's heritage, not being grateful for your family. That family must have done Harry very terrible things for him to behave in a way he's behaving.
Mm,
Because every grandfather, every father, so this is the king, that those would be, he would be a grandfather to those kids. That's the greatest gift you give a parent, children, grandchildren. Remember when you were still very young, our moms and dads really, really were looking forward to the holidays from school so they can send us to the village and go and spend time with our grandmothers and
mm.
grandfathers. Okay.
Gorgeous. Yes.
And they would leave us there for about a month, 2 weeks, 3 weeks. And our
Oh.
grandmothers and fathers used to treat us to these beautiful things and, tell us those good stories and, about the world wars, because almost all of them were there during those world wars. And right now, as we sit here, we remember those sweet little stories they used to tell us when we were still here. And that's what we appreciated growing up, and we can
Mm,
sit here now and remember those stories and start to reflect and say, oh, Sometimes we used not to take them seriously, but now looking at
Yeah.
how things are, we remember those stories and we can connect with those why they told us those things. Now these kids should be spending time, and this is why I'm thinking William and Catherine's children are
Oh,
having a
yes.
wonderful time with their
Yeah, it's such a
grandfather.
contrast.
Yes, those kids are they are just growing up naturally to be fabulous kids because the values, this family sentiments, all of those good things that children should be exposed to growing up in this
Mm.
larger, very important family that the royal family is. And that's a very sharp contrast with, Harry and Meghan. And nobody's stopping those kids from having the same sort of life as, Prince William and Catherine's children are. But it is their parents and their parents' behavior, okay, the ego of their parents, that is, in the long run, going to affect these children. Okay.
Well, the thing is with Catherine and William, we are, what it is we are witnessing their parenting. It's not on full display, but it's on display. There was a touching moment when Catherine turned up for the Trooping of the Colour and they were all on the balcony, and William just massaged Louis's ears, you know. So this is the sort of thing you do, and Catherine just groomed and petted Charlotte's hair,
Shut
and
hair and yeah,
these are very endearing, gorgeous. They're very intimate touches that go
very.
on with people that you're so close to, and
Yeah,
but I did find William touching and massaging Louis' ears really endearing. That's what you don't see with the Sussex children. We don't see how they're parenting, and Harry is coming to the UK for the World Child
the wild
Awards.
child.
He's away from home a fair bit, you know, and
Yeah,
we don't see their parenting. It's not just seeing the children visible, but it's observing the interaction with their parents, and you can see the Wales children adore their parents. They just adore them, and that's going to see them in good stead when they become teenagers because teenagers do bounce around. Their hormones play havoc with them, and
mm,
they want to rebel. They do. They bounce off the walls, and
they do.
but when they've got a solid love and that kind of connection with their parents, it's easier for them it's easier for the parents, but it's also easier for the children to respond to the parental correction because they know their parents love them. They know
Mm,
it. They're anchored in it. They love their parents. So we don't have any witness. We don't have any record of that kind of nurturing going on with the Sussex children, if they're being nurtured at all, because we just assume they're being raised by the nanny.
exactly. And when we see people laughing at Megan when she stands on that podium to say she's helping her little girl find that voice, and at some point Megan laughs at herself, it's more like she knew that people are
It's
not going to.
incongruent, isn't it? It's
Yeah,
just
yeah, it is,
incongruent.
because people can't in any way relate to what she's saying because they've never seen them out with their children, treating them in a way that a family
Mm,
behaves out in public.
mm.
So we see Louis, George, Charlotte, you said that, walking around the Windsor grounds greeting people. You see Louis running to pick up a flower and take it to the kids because he's drawn to that life of being around children, seeing his fellow children waving at him, and those little behaviors of them. That's all part of growing and helping them find confidence in this bigger world. We don't see that with those two. And here is Harry who's going to be attending that event. Yes, it's a family young kids event, and we expect him to talk to those parents about love for children, how children behave, and how you should help children connect with their friends, relatives, when his very children are not, he's not connecting those children to the bigger family here in the UK.
Mm.
This is the reason why people refuse to connect with Meghan and Harry. They refuse to take them seriously, whatever they say, simply
Yeah.
because they don't practice what they preach. So you're
No,
telling the
they
whole
don't
world,
walk the talk.
no, you're telling the whole world kindness, love, peace, family unity is everything when you don't speak to your family here.
It's a joke.
It's a
Mm.
joke.
Mm.
Meghan Markle and her family, we know those issues going on. And so, how can they tell us how to be family when they don't know how to be family themselves?
It's true. It's true. But those children are being raised by a drug addict. Just really the bottom line. Harry talks about it in his book. It's out there in the public. His consistent drug use. Those children, I don't know. It's not good if they exist at all. I'm sure Archie does, but like I said, this question over Lily. But they make a mockery. They make a mockery of family life. They make themselves look ridiculous, non-serious characters. You've had a family, I'm the eldest of eight. You've come from a really large family. You've bounced around. Your brothers have, knocked you here and there, your cousins, you're running around. I remember my nana, she had she had 13, but she gave birth to actually 12. Yeah, she lost one, but then two didn't survive. And
Hmm,
I remember she used to just throw the food on the table.
hmm,
It was so funny in hindsight.
hmm.
You know what I'm talking about. I
Oh,
enjoyed hearing
yes.
about your background there because I was imagining you running around, as a young boy. Oh, it just rounds you out, and there's something about it, and you yearn for that. I
You
actually
do.
have
You do.
moments of longing for some of that simplicity again.
Oh, yes, yes, yes. You've reminded me about, because I'm the second born child in our family. But
Ah,
all
I'd be
my
your older
siblings,
sister.
yes, all my, that'd be
I'd be your
nice.
older bossy sister. I'd put the B
Yeah,
in bossy.
yeah. But we realize how important, family is. And, our kids, my children, my siblings, kids, and all of that. So every now and then we make these phone calls, WhatsApp group phone calls where these kids see each other. Hello, because we are
Oh,
all in different parts of the
mm,
world. Okay. They say, hello, how are you, auntie? Or you bring me a phone when you come back, or you bring this.
oh,
So you see,
yeah.
there is that sort of effort as parents that we are putting in to
Mm,
make sure that these young ones, our children, connect. They get to know their uncles, their aunties, their nephews, what's going on here. They share those little stories because this is important. This is very, very important. As parents, we are always not going to be here, but our children will come and be here
mm,
and
mm.
also become grown-ups. They will also start raising their own children. So how are these children, Meghan and Harry's children, going to uh, know all of those things? How are they going to grow up into responsible children themselves who are going to have their own families and continue building those very special relationships within families when they are being locked away and not being shown what true family is,
Yeah.
it yeah
They're
it
literally locked away in the attic, aren't
mm,
they?
mm,
Quite
mm.
literally.
It is very sad, and we can only hope that these two, Harry, Meghan, eventually realize that time is running out on their side, and they start to act like real parents who are
Mm.
responsible for the future of their children. And I know William is here, Catherine is here. Catherine and William are the future king and queen, but they are also playing a role of being parents, and they are also looking after their own family here. They are nurturing their kids in the right way. So they are not
Mm.
going to be here. Catherine or William are not going to be here telling Harry, please bring your children here, let them come and connect, let them do this. They don't have that time. Harry, you're a grown up man. Meghan, you're a grown up woman. You know what it is to be a parent. If you can't do those things with your children, then it is going to be your issue when those kids grow up, and there will be nobody that is going to look out for them.
Oh, it's a gathering storm, isn't it? If that
It is.
situation, the
Mm,
longer it continues, it just becomes a gathering storm. I really
mm.
like what was it Joe? No, it was
Is it,
Becky.
if,
Could you imagine Megan as a grandmother? Yikes. That's not a pretty picture, is it?
and you see Joseph Baker perish the thought.
Well, I know I'm not the only grandmother in the room here, so it
Yeah,
takes a special something to be a good grandmother. That's the truth. But
yeah, it does.
you don't have to work at it. You're just so grateful for every grandchild that comes along.
Yeah, yeah, you
Most
do.
grandmothers, anyway.
But the bigger problem here, the
Mm.
whole the mother of all problems, it for this Prince Harry and Meghan Markle is them not being grateful. Gratitude,
Yes,
gratefulness is
yes.
important, because if you're not grateful, a lot of things are always going to be going the wrong way for you. Harry
Mm.
not being grateful for his heritage, for his family, for his upbringing is leading to him going into that direction he's gone in. Okay, because no grateful person will want to talk about his family in the way he is doing
Mm.
out there. Will want to take those kids away from his father, from their grandfather, who is, because they say grandfathers are full of wisdom. Bring
Yes.
those kids into King Charles and leave them with King Charles for a day, for 2 days. Those kids are going to live very wise. It
Oh,
is
that's good, Francis. That's
okay.
really good. Mm.
So it is such a big shame, big shame
Mm.
that these two are behaving in the way they are doing.
Yeah.
And like every single one of our friends in the comments section here has said, because
Mm.
by the way, let's take this minute to acknowledge everyone in these comments. You are so spot on with those thoughts, and you actually know a lot more than we know when it comes to these stories. And those thoughts of yours, me and Catherine won't have agreed more than we have, because you explain this picture very well when it comes to
Mm.
Meghan and Prince Harry. And in the long run, who is going to be the loser? It's Meghan, it's Harry. But who is going to
Yeah.
suffer more? It is those children that will suffer more.
But
And
also, Michelle says these kids may be a big problem for the royal family when they're
when
older.
they're
I agree
older,
with that. Yeah.
100%,
Yeah.
because these are the very children who are going to go away and start acting like Prince Harry
Mm.
himself. Okay,
Mm.
my father
Yes.
was
Very
never
good
allowed.
point.
They never allowed,
Mm.
because who knows what those kids are being fed, in that
Yeah.
family. Who knows if these two, are feeding those kids all sorts of negativity, and turning them against, the establishment that would be supporting them right now. Okay. So
Mm.
Michelle there is very,
Yeah.
very right in saying
Yeah.
that.
She's correct. Yeah.
100%. And those who
Mm.
will live to be there when these kids are older will will always remember this statement from Michelle and say, somebody said that.
Mm.
Okay.
We're going to put this live in a time
Oh,
capsule, Michelle.
yeah.
And Paul Donovan. The
Yeah.
substitutes of Archie and Lily are Gavin
Gavin
Gingras
Grant and
and
Hartford
Hartford
Clark.
Clark. I've heard that. I've
Yeah.
actually seen that before, Paul. Yeah, that's very good point.
Yes,
Yeah, I'm
yeah.
glad you brought that up because they have had substitutes. These substitutes, yeah. If Harry gets away from his wife for a long period of time, he would wake up and realize how much he needs his UK family and suffer deep sadness. I actually
That's
agree
it.
with that. If he can get
As
away for a reasonable amount of time, I believe the sadness will overwhelm him.
it will give
Mm,
him those
mm,
real moments of
yeah,
reflection. Okay. And
yeah.
he will realize that the path he's been walking all this time is the wrong
Mm,
one. He
mm,
will realize how much he has been turned against his own.
yeah.
Somebody has turned him against his own family. Because I'm pretty sure somebody is there saying to Harry, they don't like you. See how they treated you. See how you've been walking in the shadows of your brother. You're so much
Yes.
capable of that. How come they didn't roll the red carpet out for you? Why are you this and that? Why don't they do this for you? I'm sure there is somebody there who is constantly humming those words into Harry and making him behave in the way that he
Mm,
is.
mm,
And
mm.
until somebody is made to stay somewhere in a little corner and reflect properly is when they will realize. So that is a very, very key point you've highlighted
Mm.
there. Very, very
Yeah,
important,
yeah.
yes. But very, very grateful for every single one of you in these comments. That light has gone off, which tells us
Yes,
that.
so it's time. It's time, and Frankie wants his breakfast. This is my little King's Guard a friend gave me on the weekend, and his name is Frankie.
Yeah,
So
so
I
thank you.
won't elaborate on the name. You get the picture. There he is.
Yes.
So he said,
Oh,
thank you for the company, girls and boys." So now
thank
I
you.
feel like I'm on play school.
Yeah. Thank you so much. Please, yeah, Joe says hit the like button, please. Indeed, do. Let us drive
Yes.
these lives into YouTube algorithms because it's very important. We have really, really enjoyed your company. Sam,
Yes,
Joe,
thank you.
Paul, thank you, Kelly. You guys are very, very, very supportive. Michelle, you know, Sheila, where's Sheila based? Is that UK? Becky, Michelle, thank you so much. Aspi, Joe Vickers, we have such a wonderful
Yeah.
team on these live
Yes,
streams. We
yeah.
do. Everybody who hears from Tegan, cousins, send our regards. We haven't seen her around. I think she's having to sort out a few things, but
Yes, yeah.
she's very, very well represented. Elsie is here again. Elsie,
Thanks,
Elsie,
Sam.
Elsie's from Texas. Is it? Is
I
that
know.
Elsie's?
I
Yeah. Is
know.
that? So we have such a wonderful team here. I'm very,
Yeah.
very grateful for your support and kindness. We are going
Thanks,
to be doing
Frankie.
these live streams. We wanted to do at least 2 or 3 in a week. So maybe a
Mm,
Tuesday, a Thursday, and either Saturday or Sunday.
mm.
Okay.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
thank you. It's
Yeah.
really such a great crowd. Thanks, Teresa. It's just so beautiful,
Teresa,
Sam.
yes.
Paul's fabulous. He's always got such interesting, well-informed
Yes.
commentary. Yes.
Yes, we are
Mm,
so lucky to have every
mm.
single one of our friends here.
Mm.
Teresa is in Canada, isn't she? Becky,
Yes.
Becky, Becky is where? Becky, are you here or United States? We have some Australians on as well.
Yes,
With
Michelle.
Michelle, yes. Sam is here,
Yep.
I think, yes. So
SBRN.
SPRN is
Yeah.
here as well. No, SPRN is in Australia. That's what I
Yeah,
think. Yeah.
yeah,
We need a tea party at some
yeah.
point. We need to
We're
get
gonna
an
do it.
afternoon tea. Gonna do one so we can get to meet in real time and get to sort of discuss these things and have a bit of a membership little club and
Yes,
debate
yes.
upon things
It's
behind the
good.
scenes. It's
That's
good.
good. Yeah.
So, Catherine,
Okay.
before we
Yeah.
go, briefly, tell us about where you've got with King Charles's upcoming tour. Are you pushing out more content? I see you
I
have.
have been. Yes, I have been. I'm going to do a series of shorts highlighting each event individually, and they will be meeting with two um, highly decorated professors who've done some really good research in cancer. They actually received an AO earlier in the year, so I'll kick off with that. But the tour seems to be proceeding really well, and then he'll go on to Samoa. So there haven't been any hints that it's going to be shortchanged. There are no hints that there's going to be any more changes on this. So it's all looking positive, and there is a little bit of chatter in the news. It's going to heat up when the few days a week and a few days before they come. So I'm looking forward to it. I think it's going to be great.
It will
Yeah.
be, and
Yeah.
we haven't had a major royal visit since when was the
Mm.
last time we did that? Because William and Catherine went to the Bahamas. They went to the
Yes.
Caribbean.
Yes.
So we've had Princess Anne and Sophie travel, but we know their visits are not so publicized.
No,
But
they're not.
the monarch,
Yeah.
King Charles, I think this is an overdue trip and it needed to happen.
1986 was the last monarch royal
Mm,
tour, the
mm,
Queen,
mm,
and yeah, no, it's wonderful. I look, um, I the King, I believe, is. I think it's an amazing feat for him to come over here in the middle of his treatment. He's looking well, and
mm.
I'm not sure whether I'll get to see them or not. If I do, I'll feel fortunate, and I'll get to put my eyes on Camilla. I'll get to see
Yes.
that woman.
You have to, like Paul the other day said, you need to bulldoze yourself around and
I
get those
will.
pictures and, you know, get people to
Mm,
appear on your show, little
mm.
videos telling you how excited they are that
Yes,
the
yes,
monarch is visiting Australia for the first time as the king. Australia is very, very important
it is.
in the
Yes.
Commonwealth. So when things go well with the King's visit, it goes very well with the rest of the Commonwealth, like Canada, New Zealand. You're such a powerhouse in how the royal family is moving forward. So
Well,
thank you so much,
I
Catherine.
think I think the current government will probably welcome the distraction. So
Yes. But yes, it's been great talking to you again, Catherine, and
well, it's
having
always
all our
fun.
wonderful friends in the
Yeah.
comments section firing these questions our way. Please
Yeah.
remember to subscribe to the channels. Check if you're still subscribed because YouTube has a way of unsubscribing people who have gone missing for a while
Mm,
on these videos. So at least a comment or a hi will let them know that somebody is still in touch with the channel and therefore they will keep them subscribed.
mm.
And for Catherine's channel, we are praying it gets to cross that 1K subscriber mark by the end of this week. I know you're sitting around 950
Yes,
something.
yes, sitting around 950. So,
Yeah,
thank you, Francis, for pushing that out because I had a real big influx, and they were all from your channel, over 100 when you did that push on your page.
update.
And yeah, I
Yes.
really, really, really appreciate it. And people drop off, but essentially, because you
The,
don't
the,
expect people to hang around, but most of
Mm,
them, they're very loyal and they're hanging in
very,
there. So,
very,
you
very.
know, yeah, yeah.
And
So
we
I just
thrive.
value it. Thank you.
You're welcome. You're welcome. Our subscribers are, because you're more than subscribers to us. You've
Mm,
become our very, very close people, allies in running these channels. Without you, I don't think we would exist. So
mm.
thank you ever so much. And have a great new week,
Yes,
everybody. You're going to be
yes.
seeing us quite around again, maybe Tuesday, then Thursdays
Okay,
and
wonderful.
Fridays. But we are very much always looking forward to seeing you every time we come on these live streams.
Thank you, Francis. Good night, everyone.
Good
Um,
night, everyone.
good day, everyone who's
And
in the daytime. So, yeah,
yes,
thank you.
and Catherine, whatever you're going to do, have a fantastic new day. It's
Will
nighttime here in
do.
the UK, but hey ho, let us know what you get up to with King Charles's preparation
Will
in
do.
Australia.
Yes.
Yeah. Mm.
Thank you, guys.
No worries.
See you
Okay. Bye bye,
all.
everyone. Bye.
Bye.
Bye, everyone.